Hi, and welcome to my channel, Pink Aries. And today we're going to be talking about my egg retrieval process. I did egg retrieval in 2019, about a month after I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And I want to talk about this because I found out that not a lot of women even got the option to explore this option of having egg retrieval, just because either they were late in the game as far as the stage, or the information wasn't given to them, or whatever be the case. And just because I've also asked a couple of doctors about this, that women have foregone this option or chosen to not be able to pursue this option just because of how expensive it is. The fertility game and the fertility business is ridiculous. And because I did not know, or it was not on my mind to ever get, my eggs frozen, it was just really mind-blowing just how expensive it was. So when I was faced with this decision to say, do you want kids or you don't want kids? And I'm like, yeah, I want kids. My oncologist then took the necessary steps to get me on a team with a fertility doctor. And this again is like within a week of me being diagnosed with breast cancer, I met with a fertility doctor. We did all these series of tests, and I just remember crying in their office just because I felt like, and I expressed this because I will talk, I'm pretty expressive. I expressed that I felt like this was not for me. Having a child and having the opportunity was not for me, just because of how expensive they were quoting prices to me, and I didn't think it would be that amount. So I was able to do it, and that's what I want to talk about today, and how I was able to do the egg retrieval. So once I found out that I wanted to do it, and that I met with a fertility doctor, she went over the process that we would be needing to go through, because I was having my period, I think it was like that within the next couple of days, and that would help determine this medication and how fast the process and would begin. So they had me do a series of hormone injections. So my eggs were not mature. I didn't have enough matured eggs. And you never really think about how your eggs have been maturing since your start of puberty. And it never dawned on me in my 30s, how quickly, or how my eggs were maturing. So when she told me that, she was like, okay, we'll have to do a series of injections. And that was the first time I heard of IVF, which is, I got the notes right here. It's to stimulate the ovaries to produce multiple eggs. So my body was not producing a lot of mature eggs. So we had to do this series in hopes that I would, one, produce mature eggs, and then two, produce enough mature eggs that could be frozen for a later date, or when my doctor and I discuss it and we feel like the time is right for me to be able to have children. So that was two reasons why I had to inject myself with these hormones, and these hormones were called FSH, follicle stimulating, and LH, luteinizing hormone. Okay, so I had to inject myself in a series of injections. I thought I was a chemist in there mixing up stuff to inject myself at home, and it was maybe about 2 weeks that after I had been giving myself this hormone, that we were able to see that they were maturing, and that they were growing in size, that the eggs were getting bigger. And there was a certain size that she was looking for to prove that it was mature enough. And I at least had about 3 or 4 that were growing in maturity. So we went ahead and we scheduled the egg retrieval. Now, because of my type of breast cancer, mine is induced by hormone. I was also taking a pill at the same time to help lower my hormone level. So I don't know how the pill was working with the injections I was giving, but it was to make sure that I stayed safe while I went through this process. So once I had the mature enough eggs, we scheduled a doctor's appointment for surgery, and it would be an outpatient surgery. The surgery is like a 15-minute surgery, and they sedate you. I mean, they put me under to where I don't remember anything of what happened, and I woke up in this nice warm bed with my family members around me. I don't know how long I had been out, but they had retrieved 4 eggs, and they are now frozen. They have been frozen for a year now, going on 2 years. So each year I have to pay for them to be frozen. And that was about roughly about a $200 to $300, depending on how long I wanted them to stay frozen. I just went ahead and I paid for an additional year because I knew I would not be utilizing them right now. So they are frozen. You know, my doctor says that maybe in a year we can explore the next step as to what we'll do with that. Now, I want to go back when I start talking about the cost. So this procedure, just to have them removed and the medication, was over $5,000. So I was lucky enough, I don't know how we found it. My mother was doing some research. She was able to find a company, and because I had not started radiation prior to doing this process of the IVF, I was able to get them to fund me the medication that I did the injections with. And they paid for that. They shipped it to me, or they paid for it, and my doctor's office shipped it to me. And that was one less worry I had to worry about. So now we're talking about $3,000 in order for me to do this process of egg retrieval. And I didn't have that on hand. I didn't have that on tap, but as I expressed myself so eloquently with tears, that's when they told me that there was a financing option. And thankfully we qualified for financing, and I was able to get the procedure paid for. And again, you have to empower yourself, and I'm hoping that I'm empowering you to be able to ask questions. Let them know your situation wherever you go, and ask questions, because sometimes I've realized that you have to advocate for yourself. You have to be able to speak up for yourself, because sometimes that's not their focus maybe, or they don't know what's going on, or the fact that you're young and this is an unexpected situation. You know, you might have had some savings, but your savings was not, you didn't think you were going to have to utilize that savings now for some children. And let's be honest, you know, who would have thought that that would have been how you would have to have children? So thankfully, again, we went through this company. The company's name was Live Strong, and that's Live Strong. They were the ones that came to my assistance and my aid to be able to pay for my medication. So again, this is my journey of my egg retrieval. I could say after the surgery, from what I was told, the surgery took about 15 minutes. The day after surgery, I actually went to work. You know, I was still in a situation where I was on probation. I had just gotten hired a a couple of months before I was diagnosed, so I was still within my year's probation, and I was still working on a certification that was necessary for my probation, or for proof when I was being evaluated after a year. So I went to this training, this class. I could say my discomfort was in my vaginal area. I did have a little bit of cramping, but I also was on painkillers because at this time I still was dealing with my fractured back. So I can't really say how much more of a discomfort I would have been in if I was not already on some good, strong medication for my fractured back. So it took maybe about a week to where that discomfort and that soreness went away. And I read that you can have some spotting. I really didn't have any spotting with this, and that it was maybe a little soreness when I wiped, but nothing. There wasn't any spotting. So again, this is my story. I'm hoping that you will learn something. Speak up early in your diagnosis if you want to have children. That way you can find out all the information before maybe chemotherapy, because I think sometimes with certain chemotherapy medications it can have some long-term effect, and that was something with me. My type of cancer, again, is induced by hormones. So right now I am in menopause, so my type of treatment shuts down my reproductive system, and they stated that once I'm off of this medication that there's no long-term side effects, but just in case, we went ahead and refroze my eggs. So again, hope this helps. Hope you learned something. Hopefully you could utilize some of this information that I have just shared. I want to say that please leave me a comment. Let me know if this was helpful. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below. But stick around. Come back. I got more to share. Until next time, bye.